Welcome in episode 47 live. Ramie and Drew. I'm Ramie Mackloff. That's Drew Flaggy. We're a couple of Milwaukee comedians. We talk sports, whatever else comes to mind. And tonight we're coming to you live after a not good basketball game for your Milwaukee Bucks. Drew Flaggy, they fall to the Indiana Pacers 125 to 108. That was a pretty deflating second half there. What happened? What transpired at a Fiserv Forum, Drew Flaggy?
Yeah, the a team that doesn't play defense
I'm deflated. Like,
plays.
I
Uh,
I don't know. That
I am
really that was
now.
really a gut punch.
I'm trying to not be reactionary.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I'm not trying to be hyperbolic,
Yeah.
but I hate the Pacers. I hate everything about every single person on that team outside of Pascal Siakam. And here's why I'm going to say right off the bat why I don't hate Pascal Siakam. I
Okay.
think he's a decent power forward with a solid mid-range game who can get you maybe a double-double on any given night. You know who I just described? I just described Bobby Portis. Their best player is akin to our sixth best player. And you let this happen. Pascal Siakam, I have nothing against personally. Tyrese Halliburton, grown men don't skip. That's what I'm going to say about him. I know I have a big nose, and in February it gets red. And
I don't even know what that means.
My sinuses aren't great. But the second that motherfucker hits a goddamn three-pointer, his nose lights up like he's a fucking reindeer. That guy, Tyrese Halliburton, with his stupid fucking underbite, man, I hate him. I hate Nemhart. I hate the other one, Neesmith. They got so many guys that have names that I'm like, that sounds like a Hall of Fame or something like that.
Yeah.
The Nemhart Hall of Fame of fuckery. Dude, those guys are clowns. They're all sitting there, like that kind of shit. Man, I'm going to say this. For a city that's never won jack shit, holy fuck, they act like they won a lot of things. They irritate me. I understand how they probably irritate the goddamn Bucks. Like, that's fine, because, Bobby was getting into it with them. But here's the thing. Bobby Portis did not play well tonight. To start the game, that kind of helped dig a hole.
Middleton, he heated up a little bit in the second half, but yeah, when they needed him, and you and I were texting back and forth during the game, they were paying a lot of attention to Dame. They were double teaming him from the second the ball was in, literally from the time the ball was inbounded on the opposite end of the court. They needed somebody to step up. And it could have been Chris Middleton, but he was dinged up. He left the game early and then came back. Could have been Brook Lopez for whatever reason, even though he seemed super hot. They couldn't seem to consistently get him shots. Or it could have been Bobby Portis. And the reality was, in that third quarter, it was none of them. It was nobody stepping up when the Pacers were throwing big punches. No one.
Beasley was pretty bad tonight. I've been a big Beasley advocate all year long. He might have just run. You know who Malik Beasley might be for us guys? Like, I'll say this right now. 2011 Milwaukee Brewers, Sean Markham. That might be Beasley right now. He may have just ran out of gas. That might be it.
It's a random
yeah, but Markham,
a random reference.
Elbow injury, he was never really, he had a great season for us, pitched more innings than he ever did. Beasley played more defense than he's probably ever had to play for us or for any team he's ever been on. Between the Timberwolves, the Lakers, he expended a lot of energy throughout the rest of the season, like especially after Doc took over. Maybe he's just out of gas. I don't know. They got to find it from somebody.
This whole team seemed to run out of gas in the second half of this game tonight.
But also, like, yeah, Chris Middleton stepping on a guy's foot on a jump shot again. Like, it's just a fucking rolled ankle again. And they had to wrap it up. And fuck, man, I don't want to have to see Giannis come back before he's ready. I really don't want to see that.
Yeah, and that's the discussion I was planning on having tonight, which is was it yesterday? No, 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
After game, when we were talking about the win and what it means. And I said, from this point forward, every win you get buys you another game. You don't have to bring back Giannis. I said if you're up 2-0, I'm fine going into game 3 without Giannis. If you're up 3-0, I'm good going 2 games without Giannis if this thing should go to 5. Does losing the game make you at all rush him back? And I know they're not going to rush him back if it means like risking a major injury or re-injury or whatever the case might be. But if it's a judgment call, a borderline judgment call where he could play or he could rest some more and be that much better when he comes back, are you rushing him, or are we not to that point yet?
You need to take the next game. They've gotten the performances out of Damian Lillard they've needed to get. Dame has stepped up in the way that we absolutely needed him to, and what we've been waiting for all season. He's doing it. He's locked in. Pat Bev is out there playing with a fucking torn wrist. Like he's doing everything he can out there, and he's given us productive, annoying minutes on defense. He's forcing turnovers. He's getting in guys' faces. Pat Bev's fine. They need another guy that's going to go out there and score for them, especially now if Middleton's going to be hobbled, because you know how he heals.
Mm-hmm.
Middleton is going to be hobbled with this thing again. Middleton played fine in the second half, but now tomorrow is going to be the test where how does it feel when you wake up? You can play on it rolled for a little bit, the day it happens, but now it's like, how does it feel tomorrow after you go to sleep tonight and get 8 hours? That's going to be the big test for Middleton. And Bobby Portis did not give us a Bobby Portis home game. He was very inefficient in this one. He still rebounded well. He still brought a lot of energy, but we just didn't get the offensive output we needed out of Bobby. I don't know where else you look to on this team to get it. And now we got to go on the road, and Bobby notoriously doesn't play well offensively on the road. So I don't want Giannis back on Friday, but if we lose that game on Friday, Giannis has to come back for game 4.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I'm not rushing him back now, but if you fall down in this series, you kind of need him to put on the Superman cape. And I said I feel pretty good about the Bucks winning this series even without Giannis, because you have the best player on the floor in Dame Lillard, and I think he has been the best player on the floor for the first 2 games. Pascal Siakam, hell of a performance tonight from that dude, but I still think Dame has been the best player in this series. They just those annoying guys that you were talking about beyond Pascal Siakam just outperformed the Bucks supporting cast tonight. They really did.
We gave up a ton of points in the inside the paint. It was I think it was like 48-20 or something at some point. So this goes back to the young teams in the paint, moving the ball, finding cutters. This goes back to the Memphis game. This goes back to the Washington game. This goes back to the Toronto game, where we just hemorrhaged points in the paint. And you can't do that to these kind of teams. And also, I guess to Indiana's credit, as much as I don't want to give any of those clowns credit, they did shoot above 50% from the floor tonight. They did, and a lot of it carried by Pascal Siakam. Miles Turner did turn it on in the second half. Miles Turner doing the championship belt is clown shit too. I'll say that.
I didn't see that.
Oh yeah, he hit a 3 and he was like, like he hit it with like the Aaron Rodgers. Like, bro, you didn't even win the in-season tournament. Miles Turner, the Bucks, they hear the chatter every time something's going on in the media. They hear the chatter. But Miles Turner, I don't know if you've heard, your ass has been on the trading block every single year that you've been on that team. You were almost traded to us several times. So you're going to sit here and be like, oh, fucking champion. Bro, you got to win something then. I'm sorry. Like, Damian Lillard's not coming out in the first quarter fucking pointing at his goddamn wrist like Tyrese Halliburton does. Like, Dame at least understands to pick his spots when he starts taunting and shit. but these clowns are up and down hitting.
I think you're, quite frankly, I think you're being a little sensitive right now, if I may. I think,
there's a lot of things I want to call them that I don't want to tank the podcast.
yeah, no, don't, kill the pod. We're just getting started here. A couple comments on the YouTube page. Daniel says, without Giannis, Pacers in 5. Let's slow the fuck down. Let's slow the fuck down, Daniel. All right. Pacers, they lose one game and all of a sudden they can't win another game without Giannis. Look, man, I'm gonna hang on to this has been a theme of this season. I'm gonna hang on to my thread of hope and say, even without Giannis, I think they win this series. But I kind of agree with you, Drew, that if you go down in the series, that belief starts to waver. And maybe if it's a borderline judgment call where it's like he could play, he could not play, he'll be better if he rests longer, but he could play now. Maybe you rush him back. Maybe in that case you rush him back. But I still feel pretty good. I'm not going to let one game change my whole outlook on the series.
I'm going to say this: the Bucks' bad shot selection. It started halfway through the second quarter when the Pacers started making their run, and there was a sequence of 3 possessions in a row for the Bucks. Ended up in empty possessions, and the Pacers were able to get a rebound and push the ball back down the floor. That was the thing I was afraid of going into the series with just young teams being able to outrun us. And they kind of started forcing us into bad shots. And this is a Pacers team that plays no defense. They had a game this year where I think they won 143-141. That's kind
there were a bunch of bad shots there in the second quarter. Yeah.
Like, they are not a team that plays any defense. And Rick Carlisle does run defensive-minded teams historically. But, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, you can't bother that guy to play any goddamn defense. I mean, he fouled Pat Bev on one of the dumbest plays probably of his career, where Pat Bev was able to get that little floater on the baseline. And, like, even Pat Bev, he had to stop and think about, wait, are they really giving shot? What? Still slapped him in the head. Like, dude, like when you get a veteran player like Pat Beverly and he has to, be like, wait, are they really giving me this shot? Like, that's how flat-footed Halliburton was, and he threw a haymaker, an open-handed haymaker. Again, if you're gonna hit a guy, you close your fist. You don't skip and you close your fist. I'm not advocating for violence, but what I am saying is Tyrese Halliburton is a clown.
Good technique if you are going to be violent.
Dude, Halliburton is such a fucking clown, man. Like, that guy, and it's like he's got a bum hamstring. What did he finish with for points tonight?
I don't know. Let me hold on. Let me check. Pay no mind to the comment on the screen till I your question. He ended up with 12 points in 37 minutes. He was 4 of 10 from the floor.
This is the guy that's here taunting and getting under our players' skins, and he's pumping guys like.
Yeah, he hasn't been good at all in this series. Really, tonight it was Nembhard and Neesmith that were getting under the Bucks' skin, and then you had Miles Turner who had 22, and the big night from Siakam. Tyrese Halliburton has been trashed so far in this series.
Have you ever dated a woman who gets a little bit too drunk at a bar and gets into fights with people?
Not the fights part, no.
Because. And like being like having like the girlfriend that's like, my boyfriend can beat your ass.
Oh, no. That's
Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is an awful woman that you can date. That she'll go up to a guy in the bar and be like, my boyfriend will beat your ass. And like, Tyrese Halliburton is Andrew Nembhard's girlfriend. Where she's like, yeah, you know what? He'll fight for my honor. And then he sits there and puts up 12 points. And he's gassing up these other clowns. And they got to be like, well, now I got to go fight Bobby Portis. That's moronic. They were a moronic team.
All right. The comment from a Great Value Brand Bird app says, pray for a split. It's logical if you think they can go on a run. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's saying pray for a split in the 2 games coming up in Indiana, or if he was saying you should have been praying for a split in the first 2 here in Milwaukee, given you were without Giannis. But I'll try and bring a little perspective to things here, Drew, in terms of, look, there were a bunch of bad shots. I agree with you there. But the things that usually will haunt the Bucks in games that they lost, weren't the things that cost them the game tonight. They weren't getting out rebounded and giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds and second and third chance opportunities. They only had 7 offensive rebounds. The Bucks actually had more than that in that department. And by the way, I wanted to mention this real quick. I want to mention this. If you go down, click in the comments, you can get in on the show. It's also up at Ramie is tweeting over there on the Twitters. Turnovers, just real quick. Let me go ahead. Sorry,
Ramie. We had the offensive rebounding part. We had one sequence where we had like
where they got 4
rebounds.
Got 4 in that one sequence, but still, I mean, they giving up 7 offensive rebounds in a game, even if you don't have that sequence. Giving up 7 offensive rebounds in a game isn't a backbreaker. Turnovers are something that often will kill them, and points off turnovers. They had 7 points off 8 Bucks turnovers. That's not that bad. Bottom line is, what this game came down to is, even though the Bucks took a bunch of bad shots, they still shot 44% from the field and 40% from 3. You'll take that on most nights. It was just a really hot shooting night for the Pacers, and the type of shooting night that I think they're going to have a real hard time recreating. They shot 55% from the field. They shot 44% from 3. This is a mediocre shooting team. This is not something that they can necessarily recreate. The law of averages, and this is what I said during the finals.
Say it.
I'm gonna say it because this is the same thing I said during the finals against the Suns when the Bucks were down 2-1, or was it 2-1? I think they were down 2-1. And I told people then that these trends cannot continue. This isn't something that the Suns could keep up. This isn't something that the Pacers could keep up. And the Bucks are a better team than this. This loss doesn't, in hindsight, concern me as much as maybe it did during the game.
We said this about Jimmy Butler. He can't score 40 every single night for the Miami Heat. We do this all the time. Oh yeah, the Charlotte Hornets, they can't keep up shooting 65% from 3 in an entire game. And then look what fucking happens. We do this where it's like the bigger issue is the mental game for me with this Pacers team. I thought that we had a big leg up coming into this one. And I even said today to a couple people at work that I was like, I felt more confident coming into this game than I did Sunday. And I'm like, that's actually unsettling to me that I'm good with coming into this game. And then, of course, like, first quarter, we looked great. Came out, looked good. Second quarter, lagged behind a little bit. Maybe guys got a little bit tired. Maybe Dame should have played a little bit less in the second quarter. Bring them back in. I don't know. Maybe Dame needs to sit for 4 minutes and then bring them back in or something. I don't want long stretches without Damian Lillard out there. But that whole game got changed when Middleton had to go to the locker room, get wrapped up, and I don't know. He had to get his flipped or something. I don't know what happened to him. But, he still came back out there. Middleton still played. He was still effective later in the game. It was just, man, we got nothing out of Bobby Portis tonight, especially in the first half, which sucks because I was like, at least we get these home games with Bobby before we got to even consider bringing back Giannis. And it just was not a good night for him to start. Pat Connaughton kind of gave us really nothing tonight. Jay Crowder, terrible tonight. Couple rebounds.
Yeah, he was not good.
That playoff experience goes out the window. If you're going to play like that, that was he got a couple really good open looks from the corners and just.
But
Jay Crowder,
Drew, I'm not even talking about anyone in particular when I say I don't think the Pacers can recreate that or can keep that up. Because Pascal Siakam is a very good player, and he could have.
He would win Man of the Year.
He could have a real good series. I don't think that's enough. If it was, as much as you hate Tyrese Halliburton, he's shown that he can get hot for stretches to a point where it's a little scary. If it was Tyrese Halliburton doing the damage in the first 2 games, then maybe I'd be a little bit more concerned. I look at what happened in tonight's game, and I don't think it's something that necessarily is going to happen 4 times in this series. Giannis or no Giannis, I don't think this is something that the Pacers can recreate 4 times. Shooting 55% from the field, Pacers ain't doing that. Shooting 40% from the 3, the Pacers aren't doing that. That's not what they do. They can score, no doubt about it, but they don't score. They don't shoot at that clip. I think more nights than not, the Bucks outplay that team if the shots are falling at the rate that they would normally fall.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Call me crazy.
No, I'll give you the law of averages evening out and stuff, but like, man, we've seen goofy shit happen in the playoffs against us. I mean,
they do need to take better shots. They definitely need to take better shots. And when Dame is attracting the type of attention that Dame was attracting tonight, you need Bobby, or like I said earlier, you need Bobby or Chris or Brooke or somebody to go on a heater and make them pay attention to somebody else. I'm not saying tonight's game was perfect. I'm just saying that the way that the Pacers won this game is not something that they're going to be able to recreate 4 times.
Yeah. That ball's just got to move more. I mean,
yes,
this is the thing that's been going on all season long, and particularly under Doc, where a lot of times the players are aware of it. Like, they all say that, like, oh yeah, the ball wasn't moving, and we got complacent. And I mean, Bobby Portis even said that in his after shoot around presser today, where he straight up said, he was like, yeah, like, we got to know how to stand on people's throats. Like, we got to keep the pedal. It's like, yeah, good. Like, I'm glad that, a guy like Bobby Portis comes out there and says something about, we need to stand on their throats. And the Pacers are not a team that you should be looking at being like, all right, we're going to get into a dogfight with these guys. Like, they are, slow them down into the half court. And just, I mean, the Bucks didn't do a good job chasing them off the perimeter in the first place tonight. And then just getting guys in the paint, and they just scored a lot. It was, yeah, I don't know. Just the defense just seemed slow tonight. It seemed like they kind of, again, thought they had this one in the bag later. The only guy who I honestly really thought was super aggressive, well, the two, it was Dame and Pat Bev. Everyone else kind of just seemed like, oh, this is kind of a wrap. And I don't know. Like, I'm
not even looking at the box score of what he did, but Pat Connaughton was really active tonight. And I don't know. And I'm not saying productive. I'm saying he was very active. Like, when you're talking about guys who played hard start to finish, I would put Pat Connaughton in that category as well.
Well, Connaughton's always been a guy who plays extremely hard. I mean, he gets punched in the face constantly and comes back out there. He's like the only hockey player in the NBA. Like, that gets punched, he gets elbowed in the head. Like, that guy does all sorts of crazy stuff.
We used to say in my short stint in Sacramento, a game hasn't started till Domas got punched in the face, because he got the same type of treatment out there. I feel like the game hasn't started till Pat has gotten punched in the face.
Sabonis also, he was playing with a shiner in the the play-in tournament.
Yeah.
But also the thing is about Sabonis, he's a big guy who fights for rebounds. So yeah, he's going to get hit in the head. Pat Connaughton gets like straight up punched in the side of the head shooting 3-point. Like, guys do like what who's that wrestler that nobody likes? What is that, Roman Reigns?
I think the guy he does the super punch,
knocks his arm, and like, Connaughton catches a flying fist face majiggy every single game. Like, that guy gets KO'd constantly, and he comes back up there, is like, hey, I hear no bell. Like, he comes up there like Rocky. Like, yeah, fine.
You say a flying fist face majiggy?
Yeah.
Is that the actual term for it? If somebody could let us know in the comments, what is the official name for Roman Reigns?
I'm not in the mood for a wrestling dork to Marvel lore me right now. I don't need that. Like, actually, it's called the flying elbow drop thing.
I think it's just I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't really watch. I did watch some of WrestleMania because The Rock was back, and that was pretty dope. It was cool. I can't lie. But I think it's just called a super punch. I think Roman Reigns' move is just I think it's just called a super punch, where he flies across the ring and punches somebody in the face. Which is also an MMA move, by the way. Guys actually do that.
I do remember that, like, that, what was it, the Conor McGregor fight where, like, the one dude charged at him, he just, like, gave him, like, a flying knee, like, right to the head and knocked him out. Like that. It was the fastest KO in, like, the men's division. That was pretty awesome.
Milwaukee's very own, I think Milwaukee's very own, Anthony Pettis was known for flying off the cage for, like, he'd, like, put his foot on the cage and launch himself and punch a motherfucker in the face, you know?
Yeah. Anyways, Pat Connaughton takes those all the time, but I'm like, you know,
Way to bring it back. Way to bring it back. I like it. You're getting good at this.
I'm like, you got to give me more than just being the guy who gets hit.
Oh,
Like,
you're right. And again, I wasn't even saying he was productive tonight, although he didn't have a bad night. Not 2 of 3, but grabbed you what, 7? Yeah, 7 rebounds. He was flying around, man, and you needed guys out there, especially in the second half. Look, you knew the Pacers were gonna throw a punch tonight coming out of the gates. I thought the Bucks answered it well. Like, the Pacers were very, very active and very feisty to start the game. I thought the Bucks handled it well. Second half, they didn't have an answer for what the Pacers were doing, and I think you just had to have guys out there who wanted to compete, and Pat Connaughton was one of those guys. So he ended up getting 19 minutes, and quite frankly, not a bad 19 minutes for him.
No, we need some scoring on some of these guys. You know, if I like Jay Crowder, I want Jay Crowder to get a ring. But holy shit, like, I would rather Pat Connaughton take those minutes. And Connaughton can't defend as well as Crowder, but, like, oh man, I just don't know. Like, I don't want to be relying on Pat Connaughton at this stage in his career. Like, I would have felt better if Bobby Portis played the way he needed to play. You know, Middleton hurt again, possibly there's so many things. I'm like, this is going to be an issue. I don't want to get into a track meet with the goddamn Pacers. Like, I would rather the Bucks.
No, you won't win a track meet against the Pacers. You won't win that.
Yeah. And it just turned into them running in the basically last 2.5 quarters of that game. And I don't like it. I don't like, obviously I don't like them fucking yapping at our crowd. That bothers me.
I mean, I don't like it, but at the same time, here's
what I want.
You need this is what, like, when people get pissed off about like Drake or Spike Lee or whatever being courtside and making themselves part of the action. Like, I don't. That's a good thing to me. You need villains, man. You can't root for the good guys if you got no villains.
Drake hits on teenagers. And he was.
That's not what I'm talking about, dude. That's not the point of my conversation.
No. I'm not gonna sign off on Drake. I don't care how cold his flow is. That guy, first of all, massaging a grown man who's balding, weird unless you have a license for that. That is weird. And the old man needs to pay for that kind of stuff behind his wife's back. And then the other thing is, yeah, Drake, he was hitting on Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger Things. He was into her DMs. Fuck that. Don't go touching anybody if you're into that kind of shit.
I was just talking basketball, man.
I'm sorry. We already know that Epstein's Island had ramps because Stephen Hawking was on that island. Now you got Drake Degrassi wheelchair wheeling up there being like, oh, I want to see some kids too. Don't touch people. Don't come to grown-up things. Go to your Nickelodeon Slime Fest shit. Dude, Drake, that guy, that's another one. Like, I'm sorry. And again, it's not like he's on the bench. It's not like he's on the coaching staff or a trainer. He's just out there being like, hey, Nick Nurse, good job. And he's giving you a shiatsu on the court because fucking Kyle Lowry hit a 3. Dude, get out of here. You're weird. Listen, again, not advocating for violence. I'm swinging. I don't care.
My whole point was just
touching me. Yeah, you're an expensive fan.
My whole point was just the taunting and the as long as everything stays, civil and nobody is getting violent or throwing things, The back and forth between players and fans and some shit talking is good. Again, my only point was you need villains to if you want to have superheroes.
We got a couple of villains on our team. We got Bobby, we got Pat Bev. And you know what I would like them to do? I'd like a synchronized dance here on this one. I would like the Bucks obviously to come out and win the next 2 games. And if they hit a dagger in Indiana, I want them to sit there and I want them to go like that at all the Indiana crowd.
I hope so too. Yeah, I think that would be cool. That'd be fun.
And also maybe talk to all the players with an underbite, like their fucking moron point guard, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm like Michael Phelps. Like fucking clown ass. Dude, dude, you got millions of dollars and you're not fixing your grill?
It's not as easy as it sounds. As somebody with somebody who could use some major grill work, it's not as easy as it sounds. Quite painful, actually. A lot of the options that are out there. A couple comments about Andre Jackson Jr. This one from Daniel says thoughts on Ajax hopefully getting minutes from here on out. And Motion says I loved how Andre Jackson came in talking some crap to the Pacers. Bucks could use a little more of that confidence and edge. He should take AJ Green, Malik minutes. I don't think that's going to happen. I
don't think
it's still early in the playoffs, but usually your rotations and your minutes are sort of your rotations and your minutes. Guys aren't earning minutes come playoff time. Like Doc has set his rotate, at least for this series. Like it changed based on matchups, but I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot more of Andre Jackson Jr.
Yeah, AJ Green definitely seemed to have taken some of Malik Beasley's minutes because of how bad Beasley was tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That just seemed like get your ass out there and do something for me. The last game, AJ Green actually had a really good defensive sequence where he defended like 3 guys when the ball was moving around. So AJ Green, I can see getting a little bit more minutes. Yeah, he missed a lot of his shots. He also had a great find on Bobby Portis under the basket, where he could have settled for taking the 3, but he ended up passing the ball. He went from taking a good shot to a passing to a great shot. So AJ Green is definitely well aware of where guys are supposed to be, and I like that a lot about him, especially those kind of passes that will open him up for more shots. Andre Jackson, I would like, this is going to sound mean, but I don't mean it to be mean. I would like him to get some of those kind of like garbage time, end of the quarter Thanasis minutes that we got in the title run year, where Thanasis came in for like a minute 30 and was just an absolute hurricane and caused chaos. And then we went to the half, and whatever he got out of him, he got out of him. It's just one of those things where it's like, I don't want Bobby Portis to get a foul in this last minute and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
So you throw Andre Jackson in there, let him go crashing around. And I do like that Andre Jackson has gotten in veterans' faces and stuff like that. Like that he doesn't back down on guys because he's a rookie. I think going forward the next couple of years, he's going to have a big part on this team. But other than that, I don't really think he gives you a whole lot outside of maybe 3 or 4 rebounds.
Yeah, if you need Andre Jackson, then things aren't going well.
Yeah.
I think he's that guy. He's at that point on the roster.
Yeah.
It's not a knock on him, but this is playoff basketball.
You need like a big comfy lead going into like coming out of quarter or something like that. You got to be up by like 15, 20 points.
I shouldn't say things aren't going well. Things are either going really well or things aren't going very well.
Yeah. So I do like Andre Jackson a lot, and I think he's going to have a role on this team going forward. But like right now, shit, I mean, he could take Jay Crowder's minutes, but like you got to look at who else is out there, because if you're going to put Andre Jackson out there, you got to be loaded up on offense. Like you got to have Bobby, Middleton. I would even say Giannis and Dame out there. Just so, if you got to have the energy guy out there doing stuff, like you could even go small against this Indiana team. You can afford to go small if Giannis is 100%, and you could do like a Bobby, Giannis, Chris, and then do like fucking Andre Jackson and then Dame. Or you could even do like Pat Bev, Dame, something like that. But you gotta, if you're gonna put Andre Jackson out there, you gotta have a guy who can score.
All right, Drew. Any
offense on somebody?
Any final angry thoughts on the Bucks? The Brewers lost their second straight game tonight. Wade Miley went on the IL. Anything?
Who else got Someone else went on the IL because they got hit with in batting practice. They got hit in the neck. That's just a place to
I
get
didn't
hit.
hear about that.
That was
Somebody
like
got hit in the neck.
Yeah, like one of our players, like I think it was a pitcher, got hit in the neck or something like that with like a batted ball.
Jesus, I didn't hear about that. I don't know
Yeah,
how I missed that.
one of our pitchers
Okay.
sniped. The
Wow.
Brewers had a good start out of what Myers? What was his name? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
his name? Yeah,
Yeah, that was his name.
start.
Yeah, you got it.
Andrew McCutchen led off swinging at the first pitch on a rookie who he knew was going to throw a fastball. I mean, that's just straight up Andrew
Dude, your
McCutchen.
first, like that's as welcome to the big leagues kid as it gets. Your first pitch in the majors, Andrew McCutchen is turning around one on you, wrapping it around the foul pole. Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, you're just trying to get strike one in the majors. You've never thrown.
Andrew McCutchen's like, fuck off.
No, you got former MVP Andrew McCutchen, who's playing his 85th consecutive season in the MLB. you got great McCutchen finishing his career where it all started back in 1908. Like you got, man. Andrew
I do
McCutchen
love that guy. I
really-
love Andrew McCutchen. He's a great dude and a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. I think he's going to the Hall.
Andrew McCutchen was a Pirate before he was drafted by the Pirates. He was born into that. No, dude, I love Andrew McCutchen. He's awesome. But yeah, man,
great dude.
Straight up, he was like, yeah, I know this kid's gonna throw a fastball, and just cranked it. Like it's like, man, come on. That's
fine. I mean, you couldn't help but chuckle. And now just a half game lead on my Cubbies, who got the win tonight.
Dude, I don't even standings right now.
The race is on, Drew. I look at standings all season long. Me and Tim Allen and I always had that in common. We were like, games matter now as much as they do in September. I'm looking at the standings.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I was saying about the Brewers just banking wins early. I'm like, yeah, just bank a shit ton of wins. That's cool. Like, if you're gonna go beat up on teams, you're gonna go beat up on the Reds or something like that. Like, sick, do that. Good. And then when the season gets long and the dog days of summer come out, it's like, yeah, okay. So maybe you won 10 games you probably shouldn't have won. But whatever, we got them there. They're good.
They all count the same.
Not mad about that. I can't even be mad at the Brewers with the way they started the season. Like they lose a couple games. Like Gary came to the bar tonight. He was kind of like, we lost to the Pirates 2 in a row. That's okay. Like I'm not mad.
And they have these pitching, dude. They're gonna be fine. They got these pitching injuries. There might be some rough spots, but they'll be fine. Tell Gary will be fine.
I told Gary, I was like, man, it's there's a lot of games left. It's not a big deal. And then an hour later, I was screaming at the TVs because I hate Tyrese Halliburton so much.
Well, there aren't a lot of games left. It's a different situation. This is win or go home here. You know what I mean? These next 5 games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they did show Tyrese Halliburton's dad in the stands. He's got a neck brace on because he was looking for where his son went the entire second half of the season.
That was him, huh? I thought that was him. I'm not gonna make fun of a guy for having a neck brace. I hope all is well. I hope all is well for Mr. Halliburton. Wisconsin's very young.
Get the fuck out. Right. Don't pay taxes in my state. Get out of here. Get the fuck out. Go to Indiana. Go with your son. Fuck that boy out of hopscotch. And also his shot form sucks. It's really clunky.
It doesn't matter if it goes in, which it didn't a lot tonight. I'm not saying it does, but I'm just saying I don't care how your shot looks if it goes in.
No, I mean, a real dad gives a shit about how his son looks also shooting a basketball.
I have nothing against you, Mr. Halliburton. I don't know you. You seem like a fine man. I hope whatever's going on with your neck turns out good. I hope you heal up. Yeah, get well soon.
He's gonna be wearing a back brace or something too at some point.
That's Drew Flaggy. I'm Ramie Mackloff. This has been episode 47 of Ramie and Drew. Game 3 on Friday. This series heads to Indianapolis.
Where's
an early one? It's an early one. It's a 4:30 tip. 4:30 on a Friday. I don't understand that bullshit. But we'll be here, and we'll probably give you one or two between now and then. I got nothing better to do. I don't know about Drew, but this has been episode 47. 48 will come your way soon. Ramie and Drew, follow us, tell a friend, like, subscribe, rate, review on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and we'll talk to you next time.